You are watching the WD Broadcasting Network, your home for racing highlights, iRacing broadcast, commentary, and more. But here comes Jeremiah Woods. He wants to win in the Street Stock Showdown, but he's hungry to get up to the front. If you are a fan of short track racing, the WD Broadcasting Network is your home for racing content in real life and on the sim. Follow the WD Broadcasting Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And don't forget to hit that red subscribe button on YouTube to never miss an upload. Top spot away, Terzak once again into the back bumper. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the WD Broadcasting Network, and welcome to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for race number 4 of the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. I am joined once again with my co-host for this season, Cody Geyer, up in the booth. Cody, Nashville Fairgrounds. I think you said you've been here to see the sprint cars, no?
Well, the 500 Sprint Car Tour in real life has been to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Unfortunately, I was not there for that. That was before my time, but the series did visit the famed 5/8 mile located in the Tennessee State Fairgrounds in 2023 in a race that was won by Billy Weiss. So excited to be here at the virtual Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway tonight, especially after the race we had last week.
Yeah, we put on an insane show at Lanier, and a little bit lower car count here tonight, but as we were talking before the race, quality over quantity. We see a lot of the big names that we saw at the front of the field last week, so I'm sure we're going to see some great racing once again here tonight. Nashville, a little bit different than the last two tracks that we have seen on the schedule. It's a little bit, obviously a little bit bigger, that half-mile length, or just over half a mile in length, but the last two tracks that we had, very narrow. Nashville, I mean, it still feels narrow, but there's a lot more space, a lot more options on the racetrack.
Yeah, much wider track, and well, as we've seen the first 3 weeks, the tracks open up as the race goes on. This week, a lot more room to go higher up the track compared to Southern National and last week at Lanier. But also, it's a big track, over half a mile long, so more similar in that way to North Wilkesboro, where we started the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series season. But obviously Nashville, much bigger much higher banking, and just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, just a little bit bigger, and that outside lane is definitely going to be a factor. The bump out of 2 makes things very difficult. Watch Jackson Masinko actually go on board here, going over that bump. You see the car just get a little bit light. He's got to almost roll out of the throttle on the exit of the corner just to get that car steadily on the exit of the second corner onto the back straightaway. But the entire race long, that is going to be the spot to keep an eye on. Cars are going to be slipping and sliding, big runs up off of the corner, especially from the top side. I'm excited to see the chaos down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and we were talking to a few of the drivers before we went live here tonight, and a couple of them were having troubles getting around the track in practice. So we had 50 laps here tonight at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for the race, and we have 4 laps of qualifying here coming up in just a little over 8 minutes. So tonight could get interesting.
For sure, as we see Masinko pull that machine in. He's currently second quick in practice, as we'll look at the full practice results on the left side of your screen. 15 cars right now have taken a time. So far this season, this is definitely the lowest car count that we have seen, Cody, but still a lot of the names that we have seen throughout the season be fast and consistent all season long. Last week's winner, Caleb Burge, he's currently 9th quick. One that I'm a little bit surprised about, Jeffrey Stanton right now, currently 11th. A little bit lower than I expected him to be.
Yeah, and out of the 15 that are here, of course, we have all 3 winners. Jackson Masinko, winner at North Wilkesboro, currently leading the point standings by 1 point over Jeffrey Stanton. And obviously there's still a drop race in the 10 race season, so that'll throw a wrench into things as we get closer to the season finale at IRP. But yeah, as we look at the standings now, Masinko just 1 point ahead of Jeffrey Stanton, as those two drivers starting to look like they're going to be the class of the field here this season.
For sure. We've seen them up front and consistent all season long. And even if they don't qualify up front like we've seen from Masinko these past 2 races, even if they don't qualify up front, they will be up at the front when the race is about over. So we're going to have to keep an eye on both of those drivers all season long. Stanton right now closed that gap tremendously after that race at Lanier. Masinko did not have the best result after that incident between Cabri and Bogus, and that allowed Stanton to close that gap. And Jonathan Schaefer, too, he was the driver that finished 3rd. He gained a lot of points as well. He's only from Jackson Masinko. He's not that far back.
Yeah, sitting 11 points back after 3 races. And another name to keep an eye on, Zach Catalone. Missed the first race at North Wilkesboro, then went on to win at Southern National 2 weeks ago. But even with a missed race, he's sitting 6th in points, and he's planning on being here for the rest of the season. So that could be another kink in the championship standings. As we look further down, you also have drivers like Gavin Gardner, who's passed about 1 million cars this year. Kyle Turzak, who showed speed. Same with Rylan Gray and Andrew Bogus. So we still have a long way to go for this season before we crown a champion.
For sure. And looking forward the rest of the season, we'll get the sprint car schedule up there for you. You mentioned Zach Catalone. We go to his home track, the Oswego Speedway, next season, the Steel Palace, I do believe they call it. 50 laps there. The bumpy track is going to be such a fun race, and I think Catalone's an early favorite with that being his home track.
Yeah, and Oswego, it's going to be another interesting race. It's another track over half mile in length, a lot flatter at Oswego than here tonight at Nashville, but then we go to another half mile at Bristol. Unfortunately, Winchester will not be ready, so hopefully we can go there for the next 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series season, as meanwhile the real life 500 Sprint Car Tour will be there this Sunday, and then South Boston and Slinger the next 2 races after that. And that Slinger race is a race I have an eye on.
For sure. 100 laps there, you're not going to have that much time to really make something happen. Passing there is tremendously difficult. Sometimes it takes 5, maybe 10 laps to pass a car. So it's going to be a fun one for sure. Like you mentioned, Bristol, you talk about that high banked half mile. I don't know exactly the lap times that they run around Winchester in the 500 Sprint Car Tour. I think it's around a 14.5 or a 14.3 maybe is what I saw. I was watching some replays from last year. Around that lap time, Bristol, when I was building the setup, 13.2s, Cody. They're going to be hauling around the high banks.
Wow. Yeah, that's going to make for a fun show next week. I'm here on Race Monitor. Fast qualifier at Winchester last year was a 14.670 set by Davey Hamilton Jr., so they're cooking around Bristol.
Yeah, they are going to be flying, and one of the things about Bristol that I think is maybe different, but I think actually plays into our advantage here on iRacing, one of the things that's a little bit different, you can use the bottom lane at Bristol, and I think we're going to see some drivers. It's going to be tough to use the bottom lane. The practice laps that I did, you have to master the bottom lane, but if drivers can get some practice in, maybe figure something out on the bottom late in the race, I think the bottom lane's definitely going to be something that we'll have to keep an eye on. But here tonight at the fairgrounds, multi-groove as well. Turns 1 and 2, the outside lane always tends to kind of have an advantage just because of the momentum that you're able to roll. But 3 and 4, if you can hug that line, that's the way to go.
As we see here in practice, Looks like he was in that second lane there in the entrance of 1 out of 2, went all the way to the bottom. Zach Catalone taking laps, was all the way to the outside there in 3 and 4, and currently he leads this practice session with less than 2 minutes to go. So it's going to be interesting to see just how the track changes throughout the race, and you'll never see anybody that high up whenever you go to Nashville in real life.
Yeah, you often don't see drivers. I mean, you see him on the outside lane, but that far up the racetrack. Let's see if he... There he goes down to the bottom of the track, figuring out a better run. You don't see drivers way up the racetrack. I think in the race tonight in 1 and 2, we may see him way up above that second hash mark, especially in 1 and 2. Just trying to get as much momentum off the top side as they can, as we see Masinko and Sabin Bybent. I knew I would do it. Battling here. Fun fact about Sabin, I was throwing in driver information. He was born a day before me. We were almost birthday twins.
Yeah, that's sweet. And yeah, Sabin Bybent out of Cincinnati, Ohio, from the same city as Jackson Masinko, who's they're running with. And Sabin Bybent normally runs on the dirt as the two crash down the front stretch. But Sabin Bybent, normally a driver on the dirt throughout the state of Indiana and into Ohio, does have 2 500 Sprint Car Tour starts to his credit, both coming at Anderson in 2023.
Yeah, we do have a provisional for the 500 Sprint Car Tour drivers. If you have a start on the real-life side of things, you do get that little... it's not necessarily a boost, but you get a free pass into the series. You don't get a free pass into the race. We have seen a couple real 500 Sprint Car Tour drivers be sent home from qualifying, but you do get a pass into the series, get a free... Whoa. Did you see that right front movement right there? Cody, is he trying something for a Q run?
Yeah, I saw that, and it's a possibility, of course, coming up here on the 18, and Noah Longier probably hurt his run, but coming out of 4 is going to be... And I think that's the end of practice. But it was going to be interesting to see what that would have done and where that would have put him, if it would have helped in the leaderboard.
For sure. It's qualifying time. We do not have anybody that we're going to be sending home tonight, so everybody will make the field. There's not going to be any stress there for these drivers, but track position is going to be stressful. You have to be up at the front, because I imagine passing tonight not going to be an easy task, because we'll watch a driver going to have a guaranteed start here tonight. We won't have a B main victory, but Noah Longier going to try to have a better qualifying effort here at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, he had a great qualifying effort at Southern National. Qualified in the top 5, and then last week missed the cutoff by 1 spot. Was unable to race in the A, and the only driver to show up for the B, so I guess officially he's a B main winner with the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series, as he's the first one to lay down a lap.
Okay, we are back. I just lost all audio there. I was making sure the stream didn't lose it as well. Longier, second lap there. 6 quick, Cody.
Yeah, and we were just talking about him missing the show last week by 1 spot, as he goes 6 quick just behind Sabin Bybent now, as Jonathan Schaefer jumps to second quick. Zach Catalone on top of the board once again, as getting close to getting the entire field qualified. I think we're still waiting on one more, but Zach Catalone once again leading the way in qualifying.
Yeah, we did have a couple drivers, I think, jump in late. I'm trying to see who those drivers are, but there were a couple that were able to jump in late and make a qualifying lap, Dakota Brew being one of those. Caleb Burge, your winner last week, making his qualifying run right now. I think going to go for his money lap right here.
Is down the backstretch into 3. But he goes out of 4, comes to take the lap time, and Caleb Burge up to second quick. He may have tied Catalone for the top spot. Not sure if that last number is a 1 or a 7.
That's a 7. Just barely missed the top spot, but very close was Caleb Burge, your winner last week. He's going to have a good starting spot trying to go back-to-back weeks. It'll be a good battle between him and Catalone as Masenko jumps up to the 3rd spot. He's still got one more lap. He's still got a chance here.
Yeah, Masenko late out qualify as he comes out of 4, and he'll slow down before getting to the line, so looks like he'll take that 3rd starting spot.
Yeah, that will do it for his qualifying run. One driver left to qualify. That is Brett Baldeck. Still waiting on his qualifying effort. But a close field once again, all the way back to Matthew Elsie Jr. in the 15th place spot, just about 3/10.
And that's what we've seen all season with the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series, where the entire field, and we've had fields twice this size, where they're separated by 3/10 at the most, and the margin between starting in the A and having to come through the LCQ has been thousandths of a second.
For sure. The drivers, I mean, we put out the setups and the sessions, I should say, for these drivers well in advance, and I know that they do a lot of practice, so you naturally see such incredibly tight fields like that, and no shock to see the top 3 the way that they are. The 3 drivers that have went to victory lane obviously have something figured out. It's going to be exciting to see all of them race together this race here. 50 laps. 2 other drivers I got my eye on. The 2 back behind him. Jonathan Schaefer finished 3rd last week, first podium of the season. And Sabin Bybent, first start, but strong qualifying run in his first start.
And right behind him, you have Andrew Bogus as well, who was racing for the lead last week before a late race incident ended his chances. Right behind him, Ryland Gray, Jeffrey Stanton, 2 more drivers who have showed speed all season.
Yeah, and you mentioned Bogus. He did not have the best qualifying effort at Lanier, but man, his racing performance, had he not been involved with that incident with Cole Cabry, I think he would have had maybe a victory, definitely a podium, if not.
Yeah, and that's just hard racing. I mean, last week was by far the best race of the year out of the 3 races so far, and multiple lead changes, multiple battles for the lead, and it's unfortunate for both Cabry and Otis as we look at qualifying results. Zach Catalone on the pole once again, 2nd straight week. Caleb Burge outside front row, last week's winner. Jackson Masenko starting 3rd, and those top 3 separated by just 7 1/1000ths of a second.
Yeah, very close throughout your top 3, and even back behind them, your top 5 all within a 10th of a second, all top 6 within the same 10th of a second. I mean, that's not even... If you get loose, I think you're getting all the way back to the 9th or 10th spot. That's just different line going into the corner. These guys are on top of it here tonight, and I am excited for this 50-lap race. We're going to have to keep the tires on it all race long. I think this is going to be one of the more demanding tracks as far as tires go, so you're going to have to conserve the car all race, but also keep the car at the front, because passing, as we've seen all season, is going to be difficult.
Yeah, and we had that last week as well with tire wear at Lanier. And Nashville being a bigger track, this being by mileage a longer race as well. And track position, once again, so key. And that'll play into the hands of Jackson Masenko, whose qualifying efforts the last 2 weeks hasn't been where he's wanted them to be, but he's passed a bunch of cars in each race. This week, rolling off from 3rd, so going to be fun to see what he can do from the 2nd row.
For sure. It's going to be interesting to see him have the good track position, not have to work as hard, and maybe have something for the end of the race. I think he's had to work so hard at the beginning that it's kind of put him at a bad spot late in the race, and he's had to really change the way he races when he really would rather be aggressive at that stage in the race. It's going to be fun. He'll have a good spot to take on Tracy Petter or Zach Catalone, I should say, and your winner last week, Caleb Burge.
Yeah, and just behind him, Jonathan Schaefer, a podium run last week. He actually won one of our practice races before the season started at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas, so he'll be another one to keep an eye on. And then looking deeper into the field, got like Josh Batista, who's shown speed, Brandon Atkinson, who's ran towards the front. So, I mean, there are 19 cars for tonight, but how many of these guys can go on to win tonight where you're like, oh, yeah, I can see that?
Yeah, it's always a stacked field, and really anybody in this field can win if the stars align the right way. We've got 19 of them, actually. We started with about 15 throughout most of the practice, ended up with 19, and we're going to have 19 bringing us to the green here, Cody. Let's look at our official starting lineup. Get everybody up on screen. On the pole, as you mentioned, second week in a row, Zach Catalone in the 79. 2 is outside. That is your winner last week, just 6 1,000ths of a second off of Zach Catalone. That's Caleb Burge.
Inside row 2 in the 24 Brad Hayes Racing Machine, that's Jackson Masinko. And 2 is outside in the number 91. It's Jonathan Schaefer.
Row 3 on the bottom, making his first start with the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. That is Sabin Bybent. And to his outside, he was battling up front for the race win last week when collected in an incident battling with Cole Cabry. That is Andrew Bogus in the number 17.
Starting 7th, you'll see him on the real-life side of the 500 Sprint Car Tour in the Speed Chaser 64. That's Rylan Gray. And 2 is outside, just 1 point back to the points lead. It's the 94 Jeffrey Stanton.
And in the 9th place starting spot, better qualifying run this week. Didn't have the stress of the B feature weighing him down. That is the number 18, the Brad Hayes Racing Machine, Noah Longyear, and 2 is outside, the Precision Motorsports 81, that is Anthony Woodhull.
Starting 11th in the 75, it's Christian Peterson. 2 is outside in the 20, it's Josh Batista. Looking
back, rest of your starting lineup, Connor Lee in the 88, going to roll off from the 13th spot, and the number 28 of Carter Hollingsworth going to start 14th.
Starting 15th, you'll see him in a modified and a front-wheel drive in Michigan. Matthew Elsie Jr. to his outside, Brandon Atkinson. And final 3 starters, I think making maybe his first start with us this season. That is the 52 of Dakota Brew. And then to his outside, currently 19th in the point standings, that's Jeremiah Woods Jr. And rounding out the field, did not get a qualifying time in, Cody, that's Brett Baldeck. And Baldeck was the pit reporter for the 500 Sprint Car Tour last season. Attempted to make the race at North Wilkesboro, so super cool to see him here in the field tonight. Yeah, and I actually don't know if I see him back there. There was 2 cars that did not make the starting grid. That was Brew and Baldeck, so I don't think Brett Baldeck going to join us here tonight. We will get the 1 to go signal this time by, though. White flag given to these drivers. We're going to send them loose for 50 laps, Cody. Who's your early favorite? Who's your pick to win? I mean, just judging from the first 3 weeks of the season, kind of hard to go against their points leader, Jackson Masinko. Got a win and a runner-up the first 2 weeks. Last week didn't go as planned, but he still passed a bunch of cars. So that 24 starting much closer to the front than he has been. He's going to be dangerous. For sure, we'll have to keep an eye on Masinko. I'm going to go with the 94 of Jeffrey Stanton, starting outside of row number 4. He's had speed all season long. And I guess we will get the 1 to go this time by. But I'm going to go with the 94 of Jeffrey Stanton. He's had speed all season long, and
We've had 3 different races, Cody, 3 different winners. I think we're going to keep that streak alive, and we're going to have a 4th different winner in Jeffrey Stanton. We'll have to find out in 50 laps at the fairgrounds. The white flag should be out that time by, and we should be ready to roll.
Yeah, 50 laps coming up at one of my favorite racetracks in the country. So cool to see sprint cars on the 5/8 mile. That is Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And judging from what we've had the first 3 weeks, this race looks to be a fun one as well.
Yeah, it's going to be one amazing race. Pace car does now drop to the bottom side of the racetrack. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series racing at the fairgrounds. We are underway and racing down into turns 1 and 2.
A lot of beating and banging out of 2 as Catalone takes the lead down the backstretch. Here comes Masinko trying to go 3-1 on lap 1.
Yeah, Masinko right to the bottom of Zach Catalone. Catalone able to use that outside lane, though. He takes the lead and advantage down into 1 and 2. Look at him all the way up on the outside wall just about. That was Rylan Gray in the number 64 machine, just trying to get settled in. Your front 4 single file. Sabin Bivent trying to get around Andrew Bogus in the 17.
Yeah, Bogus trying to hang tough on that inside line. Masinko takes a peek to the inside of Catalone. He'll fall back in line down the backstretch. And we got, I think that's Burge trying to look up. No, as Bivent side by side with Bogus for 5th still.
Yeah, Bivent side by side right there. Masinko took another look to the inside. Catalone able to hold him off. That's Jonathan Schaefer to the inside of Caleb Burge. Gets around for the 3rd spot. A little wiggle up off of turn number 4. And now here comes Masinko to the inside for the race lead.
He pulls even with Catalone down the backstretch. Inches ahead through 3 and 4. He's going to try to clear him out of 4. Looks like he has the lane if he wants it. He'll lead the lap, and now he'll clear Catalone going into 1.
Yeah, race leader Zach Catalone got passed by Masinko, but he's not going to let it happen easily. Tries to cross back over to the inside lane, but Masinko too strong on the outside. Now Catalone going to have to deal with Schaefer in his rear view, joined by Andrew Bogus.
Yeah, Schaefer went way high into 1 and 2. That'll allow Bogus to pull even with him. As Schaefer will keep the 3rd spot for now. Wholesale lane change down the front stretch. Now he has Bivent and Burge all over him.
Yeah, Burge to the outside of Andrew Bogus. Bivent right there on the outside lane. Didn't know what to do as he saw Bogus go down the front straightaway. A little bit of contact, beating and banging just about. And cars into the wall in the front stretch. That's Carter Hollingsworth.
It looks like we'll stay green for now as they're side by side just outside the top 5. Is Bivent and Burge battling for 5th. And then just behind him, Gray and Stanton battling for 7th.
Yeah, Stanton trying to move his way forward. Currently still in that 8th position where he started. All of your top 4 starting to get a little bit spread out as Caleb Burge looks to the inside underneath Sabin Bivent. But Burge loose up off the corner, just not able to get the drive up just now.
And now Rylan Gray going to try to use that outside line to get around Burge down the backstretch. Still single file throughout most of the field as we come to complete lap number 11, as Jackson Masinko still leading the way.
Yeah, Masinko did not wait long. He went straight to the front, was putting pressure on Zach Catalone. But if you're in Zach Catalone's position, what do? You just have to keep Masinko close, but do you wait to make that move, or do you just try to take the lead back and get that clean air?
And it's still a very long race left to go. Still got another 37 laps around this 5/8 mile. So looks like Catalone may be content with just riding behind Masinko right now. Let Jackson set the pace. And Catalone still not letting Masinko get away.
No, not just yet, as here comes Jeffrey Stanton to the inside underneath Rylan Gray. Gray able to get the big run up off of the corner. You're going to see that a lot here as drivers look into the bottom of turns 1 and 2. I think the move, Cody, is going to be drive high into turn number 1 and try to get a run underneath of them and look into 3 and 4. The drive off seems a little bit better on that end of the racetrack on the bottom.
As we see Rylan Gray trying to do a bit of a diamond in the corners, still not able to get to the door of Burge. Is Stanton riding just behind him, looking for a way to round the both of them.
Yeah, Burge kind of clipped the wall on the exit of 2 that time. That allows Ryland Gray to sneak to the inside. Can the 64 get the power down? Both of them, a little bobble up off of the corner. Here comes a big lunge from the 64 Gray. Slide job into 1, and he will take the spot from Caleb Burge. Here comes Jeffrey Stanton alongside.
And now Stanton able to take the spot from Burge as well, so Burge falling back to 8th in just 1 lap. Continue to race into 1 and 2.
Yeah, Stanton right behind Ryland Gray was able to use that move from Gray to get the run underneath Caleb Burge, but lose that time is Stanton. Stanton going to lose a ton of ground. Going to have to defend from Caleb Burge, and now Christian Peterson joining the mix for the back half of the top 10. Catalone, your race leader, now underneath Jackson Masinko. They battle for the top spot. Masinko on the outside, Catalone on the inside, onto the flat through the center of the corner. Both of those drivers battling for the race lead with 30 laps to go. Catalone trying to make the inside lane work. Masinko trying to make the top side work. Through turns 3 and 4. Catalone on the bottom. Masinko on the high side, able to clear. New race leader, let Jackson Masinko hold on to the top spot. This camera here, you can really see the gap being built up over third place Jonathan Schaefer. Schaefer trying to pick up his second podium finish in 2 weeks in a row. .27 laps to go, just about to the halfway point in this race. Masinko holds the lead over Catalone. Battle beginning to heat up for the third spot. Andrew Bogus closing in on Jonathan Schaefer. Battle for the third position. Bogus right there looking for an opportunity. And here comes Andrew Bogus to the inside. As we say that, Zach Catalone for the race lead gets underneath and around Jackson Masinko. Masinko tries the crossover move down the back straightaway, and Masinko to the inside in turns 3 and 4. Just past halfway, and the battle for the race lead is intense. Catalone able to take it through turns 1 and 2. What can Masinko do in the 24 to answer? Tough break for the 91 of Schaefer. I think he may be having connection issues all the way back to the 6th spot. Trouble for the 91. He was running in the 3rd position. But up front for the race lead, Zach Catalone trying to pick up his 2nd victory of the season. He was your winner at Southern National, trying to pick up checkered flag number 2 here. Meanwhile, back behind him, Ryland Gray in the 64. He's having a good run. Gets up to the back bumper of Sabin Bybant. This is for the 4th position as Bybant gets underneath Bogus. That is for 3rd. All right, we have 17 laps to go. Coming back to 16 this time by. Cody Geyer joins me back in the booth, having a little bit of Wi-Fi issues. No storms here tonight, Cody, but I think the maybe storms in the area still fighting with you.
Yeah, shout out Frontier, but still got a great race going on with 16 to go as Masenko all over Catalone for the race lead. And Catalone's still able to hold on. Masenko still trying to find a way around.
Yeah, Masenko has been right there on his back bumper, and we've got an amazing battle for this final spot on the podium. Right now, Andrew Bogus holds it, but Rylan Gray and others want it. Even back behind him, Caleb Burge and Christian Peterson battling for the 9th spot. We've got cars side by side all over this racetrack, Cody. Look at Noah Longyear.
Yeah, Longyear trying about the 7th groove here at Nashville, trying to find a way around, and got a mistake just in front of him by Atkinson. It might work for Longyear as he's trying to crack the top 10.
Yeah, he is using up the way top side of the racetrack, and I mean, he's just rolling the momentum, keeping it wound up, and it's working for him right now. Atkinson can't really find a way around the bottom. The drive off, not very good as they nearly come together up off of 4 that time. Thought that was going to be big.
Yeah, Longyear taking Nashville Fairgrounds like it's Winchester, and as I say that, Atkinson clears Longyear, but Longyear going back to the top, try to take that spot away.
Yeah, he kind of moved back down to the bottom in 3 and 4. I think he's just trying to keep the car wound up and keep it off of that right rear tire the best that he can. It tends to get a little bit loose, and we'll see if he can work his way forward. We've got 10 laps to go, though, Cody. This race has gone by quickly.
Yeah, and as we see there, Rylan Gray getting into the wall down the backstretch. That'll open the door for Bybent. But 50 laps here at Nashville going by very quickly, and with all the usual names up front battling it out.
Yeah, no caution flags so far, and with the way that we're racing, I don't know if we'll see one. There's 8 laps to go for your race leaders. Rylan Gray able to get by Sabin Bybent for 4th. Gray gonna now have to set his sights on Andrew Bogus for the 2nd position. We go back up front, 7 to go for Zach Catalone. He's starting to walk away from Jackson Masenko.
Yeah, and that lead has doubled here in the last few laps. It was down to just a couple tenths, with about 10 to go. And now Masenko sitting at about half second behind Catalone as they come up to 6 laps to go. And these top two checked out from Bogus in 3rd.
Yeah, while battling between the two of them, too, at that, Cody. I mean, these two were battling hard. Now coming back to 5 laps to go, Catalone has gotten the advantage, but while battling, they've been able to make up that gap over Bogus. That's just, they are the class of the field, those two right there.
Yeah, it's right here for 4th. A big battle, 3-car battle. Rylan Gray, Jonathan Schaefer, Sabin Bybent. 2 sprint car drivers and a late model stock driver. As Schaefer pulled even with Gray through the corner, has to fall back in line, is now in danger of getting passed by Bybent.
Yeah, Masenko, the lap times in the 24 really starting to drop off. I don't know if he's going to have anything left for Zach Catalone with 3 laps to go, but this battle for the 3rd spot, very intense as 4th spot, Rylan Gray gets around Schaefer, but Bybent right there on the back bumper of the 91.
You're getting a preview for Winchester Sunday afternoon with the line they're running. Meanwhile, Catalone crosses the line, 2 laps to go, sitting at about 3/4 of a second lead. Looks like lap traffic will not be an issue. He comes out of 4, and Catalone takes the white flag.
Final time around, Cody. We're going to go 50 laps caution-free. I jokingly said we can go green to checkered. Didn't think it was going to happen. But Zach Catalone, after a great battle with Jackson Masenko, he picks up his 2nd victory of the season here at the fairgrounds. Masenko 2nd, 3rd goes to Bogus, 4th goes to Rylan Gray by a wheel, and Jonathan Schaefer rounds out the top 5. Man, Cody, what a race at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, 50 laps green to checkered, and had a couple passes for the lead there. Catalone able to get around Masinko while I was dealing with connection issues. And Catalone still had to fight off the 24 there late and was able to pull away there at the end.
Yeah, I knew that one of the two would have to burn up their stuff trying to get around the other, and I think Masinko just had to work a little bit too hard there at the end trying to get back around Catalone, and Catalone was able to hold him off. But what a race from your top two. We're going to take a quick step away so we can catch our breath, and then we will come back with a word from the top three finishers.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Cody Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Alrighty, folks, we are back here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. I am joined with my winner here tonight. First repeat winner of the season, Zach Catalone. How does it feel to win the first driver to win 2 races in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series?
Pretty good. I had to earn that one right there. We were going all out that whole race, I think.
Yeah, you and Masinko both. I mean, you guys were battling very close the entire time. It didn't really look like one of you had the clear advantage, and like I was telling Cody, it kind of looked like one of you was going to have to burn off your stuff to beat the other driver, but you were able to outduel him. Tell me a little bit about how you were able to manage your stuff while also staying out in front of Masinko.
So for the first half of the race, I honestly was just trying to stay behind him, just keep pressure and save fuel, because the more fuel you have in that car, the easier it is to get on the power. And I felt like around halfway, I might have had a gallon of fuel over him just because he was driving in a little deeper, getting on it harder on the straightaways. I was just kind of going like 75%. So I felt like that gallon difference was time for me to start getting on the power, and that's why I think off of 2 I could really get those big runs, just because it was easier for me to get on the gas.
Yeah, so your third race in the 4-week season so far. Even before tonight, you were in top 10 in points. That was before the drop race. Just how are you feeling as we hit the halfway point next week?
Feeling pretty good. I just gotta keep hoping I'm able to be here every week. I already missed that first race, so I don't really got any drop weeks.
Yeah, you got to push all the chips into the table now. I mean, you got to go big or go home. You've won 2 of your 3 races, though. It takes a lot to be competitive in this tight of a field. Who do you have to thank, Zach, for another victory in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series?
I'm gonna have to thank my self for being able to wheel it, because that was a dogfight, and thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. And congratulations to you on win number 2 this season, and we wish you luck at your home track next week, Oswego. Do you think you can go 2 in a row there?
Absolutely. They're going to have fun there.
All right. Well, congratulations one more time, Zach. Well, hopefully, and I'm sure we will, talk to you later on this season.
Yeah, hopefully. It'd be real bad if I didn't.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that was Zach Catalone, your winner here tonight. Second race he has won this season, Cody. Man, he's been up front the 2 races that we've seen him so far, and he's been the car to beat pretty much every single time. He's definitely going to be one to beat the entire rest of the season.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, 2 wins in 3 weeks, and he was on his way to another possible win last week. So it's going to be fun to see how this plays out. But as we bring in second place into the broadcast booth, the points leader, 24, Jackson Masenko. So, Jackson, you got the lead early and try to hold on as long as you can, but just what more did you need?
Consistency. I don't know. I've got to go back to the drawing board somewhat because I practiced a lot to try and beat Zach, and I felt like I certainly had a chance. I felt like when I put a lap together, I was actually a tick quicker than him, but those were just too little and too far in between. I was better than him, I felt like, in 3 and 4. At least it seemed like I could get a better run out of 3 and 4, but 1 and 2, he certainly had me covered, and that's where he got his big run. But, I mean, all credit to him. That's one of the best battles I've had on iRacing in general in a long time. Really clean and just really, really aggressive. I mean, I felt like I texted him right after. I said, I felt like I just ran 50 qualifying laps. Like I was sweating. My hands were gripped so hard on the wheel that they were kind of aching when I pulled them off. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, that looked like a blast. I knew that this race was going to be difficult, and it was going to be difficult to pass, but you guys made it look a lot easier than I initially expected it to be. So that was really fun watching you guys go back and forth. At what point did you kind of know during that he was maybe getting the one up on you and you kind of had to start really working for it?
When the first time he looked inside, so there was one time I made a mistake and he looked inside, and I was able to pull it back. I was able to clear him and pull it back out to about like 2/10, and it stuck there for maybe 5 laps. When he got back to my bumper, and I was like, wait a second, I just ran good laps. How is my spotter saying inside? That's when I knew, oh, we're going to have a long one on our hands. He was really, really precise. I'm sure you guys saw it on the broadcast. There was plenty of times coming out of the corner that I was so sideways that I had to just stick it in the middle of the straightaway because I didn't feel like trying to save the car all the way up. I might wreck. So I ran, 110%. I gave that one all I could. He just outdid me. So I guess I got to practice a little bit more for next week and try and one up him there.
So we'll go to the real life side of the 500 Sprint Car Tour here for a second. So Sunday afternoon, Winchester Speedway for the Tom Bigelow Showdown. Just what should we expect for sprint cars at Winchester?
For every driver, you should expect the same reaction. Just 100% focus. Almost just kind of really intense, really short. If you try to interact with them, they might not be very personable because you just have to be hyper focused at that track, and it kind of the same goes for Salem too. Like when you hop in the race car there and take laps of practice for the first time, it sounds crazy, but you come off the track after 8 laps and you've forgotten to blink and you've forgotten to breathe, and suddenly you're gasping for air. And like for me, I wear contacts, so suddenly I blink one time and my contacts are about falling out. Like you're so tensed up and so focused that you just forget to do basic, human exercises. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's always really, really difficult to pass there. Maybe with spotters this year, it makes it a little bit easier. Maybe, you don't have to kind of get your nose as far alongside someone to earn the room. But Winchester is always a fun place nonetheless to drive, and definitely one of the most difficult on the drivers and the cars that we will go to.
Yeah, I'm excited to see sprint cars at Winchester. I have seen winged cars there, but I was like 3 feet tall when that happened, and now I'm like 6'3". So it's going to be more exciting when I'm an actual adult and can enjoy this and really get a feel for, wow, these guys are actually insane. It's going to be a pretty fun one. Comparing to Winchester, are you excited for Bristol in a couple weeks in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series?
I am. Actually, we were just talking about it today. I don't know. I think it might have been Carter in one of the voice chats. He said the Bristol setup is fantastic. It absolutely rips. So Winston, credit to you there. But I haven't tried that out, so now I've got to run there. Honestly, I'm excited for any half miles. I don't know if you guys have recognized, but those little short, kind of constantly turning little tracks, those are not my specialty at all. I'm much better when I'm able to get up on the wheel and really attack the thing. So I'm looking forward to for Bristol because of that for sure. I think that'll be really interesting. And then it's just Bristol. It's just badass.
It is. It's gonna be really awesome, and I'm excited to see you guys rip around there. I'm a little bit nervous, I can't lie, but I'm
Yeah,
excited on the
yeah.
other hand as well. But P2 here tonight. Who do you got to thank?
Well, I got to thank all my sponsors for sure. JTM Food Group, Brockman Signs, William Lang and Sons Ironworks, American Scaffolding, Ron's Roost, Brogan Oil, J. Owens Wealth Planning. They just all the people behind the scenes that support me and allow me to race, just in person to come, try and accomplish my dream every single week. It feels like they're fantastic, and got to thank the BHR guys. Dustin, one of my crew guys, Dustin, actually gave me a qualifying tip before this qualifying round at Nashville, and clearly it worked because I went from qualifying 15th to qualifying 3rd. So shout out to him. But yeah, just a really fun night. Thank you to you guys for putting on this event as always. And I'll first on Thursday. I've got USAC Silver Crown, but then we'll see you guys at Winchester.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll be down there, and hopefully it's a good run for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jackson Masinko, your current points leader, and I think he will be able to retain that points lead after tonight's race. Now we'll talk to our third place finisher, but Cody, this is going to be the first race Sunday after the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series, after a 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series event. This will be the first tour race in real life since Toledo got rained out. Now we really get to decide if the Sim Series is paying off, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Jackson Masinko, Ryland Grays ran both races so far, so it's gonna be fun to see how they do, and just fun to get back to the track with the 500 Sprint Car Tour.
For sure. I haven't been since the Glen Nibel Classic. I haven't seen non-wing sprint cars, so I'm excited to smell the fumes and get back to the track. We'll talk to our third place finisher here, Andrew Bogus, up in the broadcast booth. Third place finish here tonight. You started 6th. You were trying to replicate that run from last week, but 50 laps green, those front two kind of got away from you, and you were at war with everybody else fighting for that final spot on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for this, I'm looking at this as a very big plus. We are now where we need to be, considering the fact that we didn't finish the last 3 races because of stuff that wasn't even my fault. But yeah, it definitely is a big plus to get the podium, especially representing my real life sponsors as well. And yeah, once those guys got out front and started battling, I just couldn't catch them after I got around Schaefer. But I just did whatever the car felt good in. Obviously, I tried the outside line. I could make the inside line work, but I just couldn't get a straight enough run to get back in the gas sooner for these 2 long drag strip like straightaways. But yeah.
Just how fun was that battle for third there with Gray and Schaefer?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to like what line you choose. Obviously my line was better up top, but if I would leave the bottom open, they were better on the bottom, and they could use the stagger to get around me on the bottom. But what was really killing them was they didn't have a run coming off the corner. And I think with me passing most cars on the inside tonight, and the way the car is set up with the amount of rear stagger that we put in the car, it really accounted for keeping side by side and neck and neck going down both the straightaways. And I think that's really what kept me at bay and kept me in front. And then we had 2 more cars come up into that last few pack, and I just pretty much pulled away from there and pretty much said, yeah, you guys go fight this out. I'll take a podium.
Yeah, you kind of got to escape when they got to your back bumper there. There was a big group there, and sometimes when you're just about clear and there's still some cars diving underneath you, it just takes one other car at the back to give them a challenge to get you finally free, and then you can fight your own race. But at that point, it was a little bit late. I'll let Cody ask his question, because I didn't really have a question. I just had that thought there because I've been in that situation before in the street stock.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with a rough track like this, it's gonna cause your car to get upset at some moments. So you could run the risk of a guy not holding their line properly and then making contact, and then you're really causing a wreck. And then at that point, you're really screwed. Definitely didn't want that to happen tonight and have a four-peat of what's been happening for the first half. So I think with the points in what we're running right now, we're just salvaging what we can and trying to make the best of it. And if anything materializes, then hopefully we can put on a good show for both of my team and myself as well.
So you race sprint cars on the real life side of things with the tri-state sprints with the wing on, also in the past under the must see banner. But just how cool is it to be able to race in an officially sanctioned sprint car series here on iRacing with the backing from the 500 Sprint Car Tour?
It's definitely an honor. I've been trying to run with that group in real life for the longest time, but just nothing hasn't materialized just yet. I give a lot of kudos to Winston Deal for putting this on. I mean, we basically stated our goal to the series is to rescan this car and hopefully build on open wheel racing, which is a niche that I race in real life. And with that goal in mind, I think this is going to better me as a driver and what I have to transfer over to real life. And hopefully for what I'm doing in real life, we can get some wing sprint cars on here, 410s, 305s for what I used to run. But yeah, we definitely have a goal in mind. We can't make a bad look on this series, and we definitely have to aid the open wheel community into transferring over into like a completely different niche of course, iRacing.
For sure. And I think tonight we did a good number in kind of convincing people that you can put on a great sprint car race on iRacing. We went 50 laps green in arguably one of the hardest track combinations on the service. I mean, Fairgrounds is a little bit more forgiving than some of the other tracks, but the bumps in 1 and 2 do not make this car very easy. So, like you said, I hope that we can get something moving with iRacing. I want a winged sprint car. I want a new non-wing sprint car. You know, just pick the same one, scan it with the wing on, scan it with the wing off. Perfect. Then I want a USAC Silver Crown car too, because I think if we could get something like that and have more of a what's that called?
Gold Crown car.
Yeah. We don't want a Gold Crown car in the service. We want an actual Silver Crown car. But if we could get something like that, that would be so awesome to have for all these drivers to be able to use in real life practice scenarios, like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, with what iRacing stands on right now, and it really needs a renovation on its short track open wheel program. Like you said, the sprint car, the wing sprint car, the Silver Crown. Maybe we can get some feeder series into the thing, like the All-Star Midgets or the Kenyan Midgets as like a D-class kind of feeder series. And then as well as the tracks too, like the Berlin Raceway. I know that's next in line to be scanned. Owasso, Lorraine, and Sandusky, both very historical facilities, along with Anderson, Winchester, Salem. We really need to get these tracks on to the simulator in this ever-growing community so we can help aid this and actually grow more popularity and open not only the iRacing side, but short track open wheel racing as a whole too.
Yeah, I really do think it helps kind of bridge the gap if you have real life drivers that people can watch at home racing on iRacing, like yourself, that they can say, oh, wow, these drivers are actually, they buy into this too. Maybe I could as a fan. And I think it would be really cool to see something like that. Well, before we let you go, Andrew, who do you have to thank for podium finish here in the Sim Series?
Big thanks goes out to Ted and Mary Stahl of the Stalls Motors and Music Experience Museum, Eddie Jawad of Pit Stop Gas Stations of Metropolitan Detroit, and Matt and Ashley Double of USA Earthworks and North Star Aggregates, and everybody else that comes over from my real life side and makes everything possible.
All right. Well, congratulations to you on a podium finish here this evening, and we wish you luck at the Steel Palace at Oswego next week.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You too. Cody, that was our third place finisher, Andrew Bogus. First podium of the season. I think first finish of the season. He's one of the drivers that has just not had the luck breakthrough just yet. He had it here tonight. I think he's looking for just a little bit better, but this is definitely a step in the right direction for him.
Yeah, and he was in contention for the win last week, racing with Cole Cabry at Lanier, and an incident took both out. And he's been fast every week so far this season, so it's nice to see him with a podium finish.
For sure, and we'll work back behind him. Rylan Gray did not make the field last week in the 64. Up to 4th this week. Great run for the 64. Rounding out the top 5, backing up his podium finish, Jonathan Schaefer in the 91.
Yeah, Saban Bybent finishing 6th in his 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series debut. Jeffrey Stanton finishing 7th. Then Christian Peterson, last week's winner, Caleb Burge, and Brandon Atkinson rounding out the top 10.
Back behind them, Noah Longyear in the 18 comes home 11th. Connor Lee in the 88 comes home 12th. Josh Batista in the 20 comes home 13th. Matthew Elzey Jr. comes home in the 14th spot. Jeremiah Woods rounds out your top 15.
In the rest of the field, Anthony Woodhull finishing 16th. Tough break for Carter Hollingsworth after an early wreck. He'll finish 17th. And then Dakota Brew and Brett Baldet did not make the start of the race.
Yeah, and that was one of, I don't know, the Lanier race was pretty good. There was some cautions there. That was pretty tough to beat. But man, tonight was just another excellent showing for these guys. I'm very happy with the 2 races that we've put on, and we're going to another track next week that I think can put on some great racing in Oswego. And then Bristol is going to be Bristol once we get there. They're going to be flying, and I think that could cause some chaos, but I have confidence in these drivers to put on a good show. Cody, we're getting to the halfway point in the season. What are your thoughts on the first 4 races in the Sim Series?
Yeah, it's been a great deal so far, and it's cool to be able to showcase what the YourBigPlans.com 500 Sprint Car Tour is. And we've got some great tracks coming up. It's going to put on interesting shows. In Bristol, for sure, that looks like that could be a wild card. So, yeah, 6 weeks left and a lot of races that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, there is not a single date on that calendar that I'm like, not really looking forward to that one. Every single race is going to be action-packed, so you won't want to miss it, race fans. We're going to wrap it up here early tonight. We had a caution-free affair at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. How about that for the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series? We will see you guys Sunday at the high banks of the Winchester Speedway. Me and Cody will both be there. He's doing photos. I'll be taking some videos and hopefully talking to some of the drivers, maybe hearing what they have to say. Hopefully getting a word from some of the real-life Sprint Car Tour drivers that also drive in the 500 Sprint Car Tour Sim Series. I think that'd be a pretty cool piece for next week's broadcast, but we'll have to see what this weekend brings. Thank you to Cody for joining me up in the booth once again. Check out his page on Facebook, KG Media, and we will see you guys next week at Oswego. If you guys are Street Stock Showdown fans, we'll see you guys tomorrow night for a double header right here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. But myself, Winston Deal, alongside Cody Geyer, are going to sign it off from the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good night.